instructions. Oh. Okay, so tip one will be watch your step, watch where you're walking, watch where you're running, watch where your feet are going. In this video, I wanted to cover some tips that I have done to Canicross with my dogs. For about close to a decade now, I've been either running with my dogs, biking with my dogs, and I've done a variety of different things to help with that and make it an easy transition for like an enjoyable run for me and my dogs, as well as equipment. So that's the first thing I'm going to start on. When I started out, I just used a harness. The key part to the harness is that it's a Y shape. So that is so that there's no restriction in the dog's movement of their legs. So this is an example of one Y harness. This is from Roughwear. They have actually a few great Y harnesses. And this is just kind of the basic setup. So I don't want my dog in a collar. I don't want my dog in a harness that goes across the chest, restricting that shoulder and front leg movement. So that's why I do the Y harness. And then you can use any basic leash. If we're doing kind of a bit of an upgrade from a basic leash, I really like this roamer leash from Roughwear. It has a bungee here on it, and then it can also adjust and go around your waist. So this would be like a basic setup. And this is how I started out years ago, and it worked just fine. And I even used the roamer leash when I would bike with my dogs. Now I have upgraded and I'm using harnesses more specific for running with my dogs. So think of the sled dogs. So these harnesses are designed to fit your dog in a way that doesn't restrict any movement whatsoever. And it's designed that when you clip the leash at the back here, that's where the pull is happening. Whereas on just like a basic harness, that pull is happening quite close to the shoulders, and then it can kind of pull them over to the sides at that shoulder area. So we want to avoid that. But again, if we're just getting into this, it's a nice place to start. So I'm going to go over the next steps from whether it is that you're using a basic setup or a more advanced setup. And with my advanced setup, I also wear my own running belt. Now this has become important for me from an injury that I had a long time ago that still presents some chronic issues. So for me, it's really important to have a proper harness that sits on me. There's super basic harnesses as well, or like I said, just these simple leashes that can go around your waist. I will do a separate video on the human harnesses because I have actually used about 4 or 5 different kinds. So I'm in the process of still using this one before I want to give a good review on what I think on it. And then I've got lines that attach to it, and they also have a bungee to it. Now, in the process of this video, I'm going to get my dogs geared up. I'm going to go take them for a run. On that run, I'm going to make some stops to talk about the tips while I start this with my dogs. And my biggest suggestion is if you're going to do this with multiple dogs, do one dog at a time. So for example, if I'm running with Lute and Ruger, I started out with Ruger and I taught him what I needed. Then I had runs that were just with Lute, teaching him what I needed and then putting them together. So if you're going to do this with multiple dogs, I would suggest that as well. It always just makes it easier to handle one dog at a time to really teach them what you want to know. So I'm going to get them geared up and we'll see you out there. Okay, so whether I'm using like this equipment or a more basic setup, I'm always going to start just taking my dogs on walks or hikes so that they get the feel of pulling. I get the feel of the pressure of them pulling, and I can work on some skills like getting ready to turn right or left and getting them to even recall to me. If you have a dog that might be a little harder to do that with, or maybe some reactivity if we passed other dogs, I would put a collar with a little tab on my dog in addition to the harness, so I can then have some treats in my pocket or my backpack and recall them to me, and then grab the tab so that I have them closer to me if needed, especially in this training process or maybe for the entire time. Okay, so up here, we're gonna come to a turn in the trail. Now, you have to go left. There is no straight or right. But even so, I will cue my dogs left every time I'm at a corner. So here I'll be like, left, good. And I say good to let them know that that was correct. And I will do this at every corner. So they will start to get a pattern of rights and lefts. So then when we get to, say, a fork in the trail, I can start cueing right and left and they'll know. All right, so when I teach my dogs spin, this is my right hand. And when I direct my dog for a spin that way, I'm not going to say right, I'm going to say left because it's my dog turning left. So left, good. And then same left hand, but I'm gonna say right, right, because it's the direction my dog's turning in. And so that really helps that then when I'm on the trail and I'm coming to corners or a like fork in the trail, it's easy then for the dogs to start cueing the right and the left. So left, good, right, good. And when I teach this to start, I do a lot of luring, so a lot of luring. Here we're going a bit downhill. If I was running in this moment, I would, to teach my dog to slow down going down the hill, I would say a command and I would go into a walk. And I would do that for several sessions, like several of my runs or even my walks. On the walk, I would slow down even more so that, again, my dog learns a pattern that going downhill, if I say a word, so for me, I use easy, it will mean to slow down. And then I don't actually have to, later on, I won't have to actually stop to a walk. They will just start to have patterned that word. And then if I want them to pick up some speed going, say, up a hill, I will start on more of a flat and I say go, like go, go, go. And good job, Lady. And I will run a bit faster so that, again, they can pair that go, go, go means to go faster. Here, they don't do it just because we're in an actual walk. So for them, they're going to go onto that walking pace because we've already done this for a very long time. So like here, go, 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 go. And they pick up the pace and they go into a pull. A couple other things that I want to recommend is the footwear that you wear. So I really recommend a like hiking running shoe, like a trail running shoe, even if you're going to road run, that has good tread. I had running shoes that didn't have a good enough tread and I'd slipped a few times on the pavement because it was more wet winter, that rainy season. So I use shoes with a really good tread. The ones that I'm currently wearing are the Solomon Speedcross, I think they are. And I like my Gore-Tex because it rains a lot here. It's wet a lot of the time. Even on the trails, it gets really mucky. So I like the Gore-Tex. The other thing that I'll carry is I wear a running backpack. And in that, I'll carry some treats. I carry an extra leash. I have bear spray, a pocket knife, and a dog deterrent spray. Reason being is we live in bear country. We also live in a neighborhood with a lot of irresponsible dog owners with out of control dogs that have come out charging at us on the street, have chased us, things like that. So the dog deterrent is really important there because I need to keep my dog safe. And then the pocket knife for any emergencies. If anything happens and something happened with one of the leashes getting tangled or caught or anything and maybe wrapped around my dog's leg, which never has happened, but I think of all these scenarios. I want to be prepared. So I just have that all in. I also have poop bags. As I mentioned before, I have dog treats in my bag. And then the other big thing that I carry, and again, this is just for me personally, is I wear a GoPro. So I have a GoPro strapped to me, and that's just because of all the unfortunate incidences of dogs charging at us that I've had happen. So I want to be able to have that on footage, and not have to worry about bringing out my phone or anything like that, and it just be recording right on my chest. I think that covers most of the tips. If there's any questions, if anything I've missed, please leave a comment below.